Welcome to the Workbench After Hours podcast. My name is Keith, and I'm your host. This is where we talk about the firearms community, shop talk, and everyday life experiences. Welcome back to another episode of the Workbench After Hours podcast. This is episode 33. Chris and Hunter are back with me as my two co-hosts, and we do have a special guest that we're going to bring on this week. But before we do, Chris is going to let us know what we're drinking.
We are drinking Four Roses. So the bottle doesn't tell us anything besides the story and the background of it. It talks about the original bottle was named Paul Jones Jr., and the reason why he changed his name to Four Roses, he asked his Southern Belles, what they call her, they didn't give her a name, to marry her, and she wore a four-rose corsage, and he thought it was beautiful, so he changed the name from Paul Jones Jr. to Four Roses. So
nice. I
don't know what's it going to taste like.
All right.
What's the proof on this one?
I believe it's just your normal, 40% alcohol. And thank you, Brent Elliott. It looks like our master distiller made this.
There you go. I guess it's got a little hint of Jack on it.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
It's pretty smooth.
Cheap bottle is what, $20-some?
25.
Yeah.
After tax.
I don't mind it. It's
All
good.
right.
Good. Cool. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and bring on our guest. We have Jessica, who is the owner of Eclipse Holsters. So welcome to the podcast, Jessica. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Hi.
Welcome, welcome.
So what can you tell us a little bit of background on you and how you got into guns and stuff like that?
Yeah, I gotta say, honestly though, I am not a Four Roses fan, so you guys did that pretty well. A background on myself, I most importantly, I'm a mom, and I appreciate that you guys had your wives on the podcast once. That was very fun to listen to. That's the best job that I have. My kids are all adults, but that's kind of the heart of who I am. And then about 9 years ago, I had a desire to understand safety for guns. Are you getting any feedback? Because I'm getting a little here. I just want to make sure this is recording okay.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a kind of going in and out, but
It's okay. Sorry, I just want to make sure it's the best for you.
There we go. That sounds much better.
Okay. That okay? I'll just move.
Yep.
I'm just going to keep moving until it's good. So sorry, guys. So 9 years ago, I had a desire to not shoot, just know about gun safety. My husband was an Alaska State Trooper. Like I said, we had kids around, and I just wanted to know how to make a gun safe because I was around them all the time. Our kids were around them in the house, and my desire was just what happens if I pick it up and it explodes in my hand. I had crazy ideas in my head of what a gun could do because I had no education. So I asked him to teach me safety, and I had never shot a gun. So he took me to a range, and I had the first experience of shooting a gun, and I had no idea that I would love it as much as I did. So anyways, I became so obsessed with shooting that I actually got into competition shooting for a while. And he bought me my first gun. The first gun I owned was the M&P Shield. And 9 years ago, there were no holsters on the market for the M&P Shield. And I wanted to take it to the range. I wanted to shoot from it. So I finally found a gentleman online. I wish I could remember his business name because it's so significant, this moment in my career. But he said he could make me a holster, but it was going to take 4 months. So I ordered it, and I sat and waited. And about 2 weeks in, I thought, how is he making it? Like, why does it take 4 months to make a holster? So I Googled, how do you make a holster? And I found YouTube videos. And within about a month, I talked my husband into buying me all the equipment I needed to make my own holster. It cost me about $1,000. But I made my own press, bought a saw, bought Kydex, bought a toaster oven because I was heating in a toaster oven at the time, And in less time than it took this guy to make me a holster, I canceled the order. Actually, I never even got it. I had made my own holster. And because he was around firearms instructors and all these other guys that were shooters, I went to the range with this really hideous but really cool looking Kydex holster. My husband said, "Don't you dare tell anybody that you made that," because, he didn't want to be the guy with the wife who's like trying to make holsters. Well, I told everybody that I made it, and so then people had started asking me, and before I knew it, I was ordering Kydex, making holsters, making a ton of mistakes, and it became so busy for me that I thought if I could, maybe I could turn this into a business, and so I made a chart that still hangs on our shop wall, a 100 chart, and it had 100 lines on it like a thermometer. And I said, if I can sell 100 holsters to 100 strangers, I'm going to make a business. And it took me 9 months. I was selling on eBay, word of mouth, and Facebook at the time. And here we are today. It went that fast.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we have failed our way to where we are today.
Nice. That's awesome. So what's it like being a woman business owner in the gun community? Because I know there's a lot of gun companies out there, but most of them are, run by men. Do you have any struggles with that, or?
It's really easy for people to assume. And now my husband, he's completely retired. We actually own a distribution company for Kydex and all the gun materials as well. Okay. And so he runs that full time. We work together every day. He quit his job 4 years ago, and we run these two businesses. So, but he's always been right there beside me. And it's very easy and natural for people to assume that it's, his business. And it never bothered me. I never felt threatened. I never felt like I had to actually prove something, which is probably good, because it never bothered me if everybody's attention or questions or direction automatically went to Joseph. But I can tell you, for about 6 years, I was the only female holster maker in the country. There was nobody else that was doing it except for me. And I would ask questions to people, and they were very rude and dismissive. And it's kind of funny how people are super protective about how they make a Glock holster, even though there's really only a couple of ways to make a Glock holster. Like, we're not all sitting on some secret. So, anyways, I haven't ever felt, I've never tried to make a point like, look at me, I'm the owner of this company. And so it's never really been an issue. But when people do find out, they automatically just assume it's Joseph. So
Gotcha.
It just doesn't bother me.
Nice. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I can't remember, are you still in Alaska or are you in Virginia?
No, we are in Williamsburg, Virginia now. So
Okay.
Started in Alaska, but did several moves and ultimately ended in Williamsburg. So we own a big shop here. We currently have about 15 employees and 9 years of this, and we still love working with each other every single day. So
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
we're both still surviving.
Awesome.
That's awesome. So when you guys were in Alaska, and you were getting the company off the ground, when you moved to Virginia, did you take any of those did any of the employees move with you guys, or was it a whole new, were you just by yourself in Alaska before you moved here or moved to Virginia and opened up your?
Yeah. I mean, it took years for me to get to the point where I felt like we were ready for employees. So we have an employee that's about to hit 6 years with us, but she's been with us the entire time that we've been in Williamsburg. And she started out in my garage. Most of our employees got hired in our garage. And it's only recently that we've now moved, and we just moved into a 10,000 square foot building. So she's transitioned the whole way. It's pretty exciting. But she started out with me like 4 hours a day, 3 days a week. I mean, it was so minimal to where we're at today. But yeah, everything, the big booms and the big changes happened here in Williamsburg.
Okay.
Awesome.
And what brought you down to the lower 48 from Alaska?
Being born and raised there, and my husband was the same. There's honestly always a desire for us to leave Alaska. It's a beautiful place, but it's cold and it's isolated and it's dark. And so it was kind of this stirring thing in us constantly. But he had a fantastic job and we had 4 kids. But he got an opportunity to work with the State Department and ended up doing a lot of contractor work. So we moved this direction, and then he ultimately ended up being overseas for about 7 years. So we did that craziness for a while, all while we were building Eclipse. And then it was the growth of Eclipse and then the start of Holster Builder, which is our distribution company, that opened the door and the opportunity for him to finally just quit altogether.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long does it take to really make a holster from start to the end?
It's exciting. So our process, we have a lot of videos on our website. I try to stay really up on our social media, and we do a ton of behind the scenes. I enjoy watching behind the scenes, and we don't really have anything to hide, so we do a lot for other people to watch. But the truth of our process now, we can do a holster from start to finish in 10 minutes. I mean, like from the minute the Kydex goes in the heat press until it is in a package. If it's the only thing we're concentrating on, it's 10 minutes because of our process. We're pressing and using vacuum forming, which is pretty standard for most holster makers. But we go from that to our CNC machines, which cut it out, precisely every single time. And that just eliminates a lot of the process of what takes the most time. We do a quick buff on the edges, and the assembly is so fast. I mean, our crew just has dialed in so well that we process several hundred holsters a day.
Nice.
Where
Wow.
my first chart was 109 months, and we do that multiple times a day.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah.
And to rewind you back a little bit, did you say Kydex?
Mm-hmm.
What is Kydex?
So Kydex is a thermoplastic. It's 3 different types of plastics melted together to create a Kydex. We use Kydex and Bolteron. They're all just types of thermoform plastic. It's very similar to what is on a dashboard of a car, the interior of an airplane. They're all just different mixtures of plastics and different thicknesses. So it's kind of the same idea. Just on it was right about 10 years ago when I think Travis Haley was one of the first people to come out on a range with a Kydex holster, and it just made this massive impression because it was so much better than leather, and it didn't have to be injection molded. People could do it in their garages, and so it changed a lot. Changed the whole game. Did I lose you guys? Or are you good?
No, we're still here.
Okay, good. And so it came out, but it was all black. Coyote brown, I think, was the first color to ever be released, and then a gray. And something that kind of has set our company apart. I was one of the first people to do custom imaging, and let's put some colors into this. Probably the girly side of me. So
awesome.
I apologize.
So what do you like when you first did this? You said it was for an MP shield?
Mm-hmm.
How much do you think did you take, once other ones came out, did you compare yours to other holsters to see quality?
Are you kidding? Comparison is the worst thing that I did for a long time. Keep in mind, I really probably had no business making a holster for anybody else. At the time that I made my holster, I knew it was an M&P shield, and yet I thought every gun in the world was a Glock. So it tells me, my knowledge base. I was coming from somebody who never had touched a gun, didn't know anything about guns, to understanding safety about guns, making a holster, and then making them for other people, and still thought every gun was a Glock. So I have learned a lot. I compared a lot, and touched other people's. I'd go to gun stores, take them off the shelves, see how they package them, touch their edges, feel their retention. I learned rules about holster making, that the sweat guard. First, I didn't know what a sweat guard was. then I understood what it was, and then learned it can't go up higher than the gun, and your finger should never hit Kydex when you are going to grip it, and all these things I didn't know, and I learned by making mistakes with my customers. And it took a lot. It took some pretty tough skin to get through all the failures, and we still fail. But now it's kind of like a welcome thing. It's like, well, we need to adjust there.
Yeah.
And if you're never doing anything wrong, there's no feedback on any type of improvement. So we're open to it now, but we also understand a whole lot more than we did. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife was the same way. She was terrified of guns, like when we first started dating. And of course, me being a gun guy and everything, I wanted to have her get into that hobby with me. And it took her, like, she was terrified to even touch a gun because she had the same reaction as you. She's like, this is dangerous. Like, I could kill somebody with this. So I got her into that ladies only gun class, and they taught her just the safety of it. And then once she learned how to safely handle a gun, she now owns her own and likes to go shoot. So there's a lot of women that have that same philosophy, and it's like we need to find a way to get them to learn about how to safely use firearms so they get comfortable with them. And luckily,
it's a really intimidating to go in. It's still primarily men, and so it's intimidating for women to walk into a gun store, and you feel like you're not going to ask the right questions. And I think gun stores need to learn how to handle women customers too a lot better. But things have really improved in the years that I've been around. But what helped me initially was that my husband was a firearms instructor for 18 years, but he's not the one that taught me how to shoot, which probably saved me loving it. Saved a lot about it, because you just get so defensive with your spouse. But to go and talk to a woman is very helpful because we speak thingamajigger, the piece over there, that one thing, like you don't have to have all the gun parts names and all the things that make you feel like you're foolish, like you don't know what you're talking about. Yep. And we can just break it down real easy, and it's helpful. I've had the opportunity to bring women into our shop, not in a real formal way, but just like, come touch all the guns we have. Let me teach you just a few things. And it's really exciting to see them feel so empowered. When you understand the mechanics of a gun, when you understand the safety of it, the rest of it's just, then you get to go have fun with it. So, I love doing it. In fact, I've thought for a really long time, my enjoyment so much of helping others and teaching them, I kind of have thought at some point I need to get out of this holster, out of the grind of it, and maybe get an opportunity to teach in a more formal way, because it's just so exciting to get to share that feeling with somebody else the way I felt, when I finally learned about it. So.
Oh yeah. And she said one of the things that she learned in class is because she had a really hard time racking the slide herself, and they taught her, because the one she was at was taught by women. They're like, we don't have the arm strength to rack the slide like men do. So they taught her to grab the slide and then push the frame forward, and then that would help her rack it. I don't know if that was something that you were taught when you were doing that, or if...
Nobody taught me in that way, but I've seen a couple of really great videos just recently about how to hold it into your body. When you extend something way out, you lose a lot of that strength. And then you try to do it at an arm's length, and you completely take away half of the strength that you have and the ability to rack that slide. So using your grip hand and coming into it with some power while you rack back, it's really a neat way to teach women. The M&P Easy 9 and Easy 380, that when those hit the market, man, did we see our holster, sales soar just in that category. And I understand it. There are so many women that have a real hard time. And the smaller the gun, it's almost like it's harder to rack the slide.
I know.
So all the guns that fit a woman's hand and frame are the hardest ones to actually rack. So that MP did a good job with that one. I wish they were a little bit smaller. I'm not totally in love with the way the gun is made for myself, but I understand why they did it, and I think it's really helped a lot of women.
Yeah. So are you comfortable shooting a really small gun? Because I know the smaller the gun, the harder it is to shoot, especially at a long distance. And
Yeah.
Because I do gun shows occasionally, and I see a boyfriend or husband walking up, and they're wanting to find the smallest gun possible for their wife, and I'm like, that is not the way to go. Like, you want to get
Right.
something a little bit bigger to where she can actually have control. And I think at gun shops, you see, oh yeah, we'll sell you this little pocket gun, and for me, I'm like, I try and explain to them, I'm like, hey, that's great that it's really small, you can conceal it, but you want to actually be able to control this, shoot it comfortably. So I try to talk them into getting something a little bit bigger, and that way, because I mean, if they shoot that small gun and it's super snappy, that's going to throw them off, and then they're not going to want to shoot or anything.
Yeah, you have to be careful, especially if it's a new shooter, somebody that you're taking to the range for the first time, or you're finally getting them brave enough to stand and pull the trigger. The last thing I would do is put a tiny gun in somebody's hand. They're very difficult to control. The recoil absolutely sucks. And so, do I enjoy or am I can shoot it. I make sure I shoot every gun that's in our shop. I like to have personal feedback from our customers. Do I enjoy it? No. Now, there are times where I will take a tiny little gun. I like to ride my bicycle. I always have to say bicycle because people think I'm bar or something. No, I'm not cool. I like to ride my bicycle, but I go on trails I'll just go for 20 miles or 30 miles by myself. So I've got a little fanny pack, and I'll put a small gun, or I'll put it just on an multi-clip in my biking shorts. I'm not taking a big gun because I'm constantly bent over. I know that I could take that out. I will have an element of surprise immediately. And then I could take it and I could shove it into somebody's gut and pull the trigger. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna affect it. So there are times where I take and use the tiny guns that I have, but it's not ideal, and it's not something I'm taking to the range and just shooting. So I think it has a place.
Yep. So we started a new segment, Gun of the Week, and we thought we would have you choose the Gun of the Week this week. And so, what's your go-to carry gun that you carry all the time, or just your go-to, and why?
My go-to is the SIG 365.
The original one?
The original, not the XL. I like just the standard 365.
Okay.
I did a challenge for myself because I have women asking me why. So I took the Glock 43, my M&P shield, and the 365 to the range, and I loaded them all, and I stood in the same spot and hit, aimed at the same target and shot all three back to back. And I actually couldn't convince myself of which one I liked shooting more, which one felt better when I was shooting it. I absolutely love all three equally. So then, why do I carry the 365? I like how it feels in my hand. Same size. I like how it snaps into the holster. So that's my go-to, but not because I convinced myself that it's better at shooting. It's better. Like, I don't shoot it better. It just feels good. It just feels good when I grip it. It sounds good in our holsters. I mean, they all do, but certain ones have just a different kind of click. And so, yeah, that's the one I will grab. That's my go-to. My favorite handgun to shoot, which I think you guys already touched on this, is the 320. And I expected to not like it. I thought, because my Glock 34 is what I kind of tricked out to be my competitive shooting gun. And I haven't shot in a competition in years. But that one makes me it just makes you smile and giggle when you shoot it. It's just so beautiful. So I got the SIG 320. I took it to the range, and I was like, I'm not going to like this. It's bulky, and I didn't think it felt good in my hand. It's my favorite one to shoot. It is so smooth. It feels good. It shoots good. It's just too big for me to carry, but that's my choice every time.
So funny story about that one, because that was Chris's Gun of the Week last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
In it, so I don't know if you could tell, when we originally recorded it, he kept saying it, and then I kept saying it was 360, the SIG P360.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then afterwards, I'm like, "Are you sure that's a gun model? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't remember hearing about that one." And we looked it up, and it's like it was a P320. So we had to go through and voiceover every time he said or I said the P360 and change it to the 320.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on it, but
that's good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I did that I was explaining to one of our newer employees, we were making mag pouches for the M4. I kept calling it the M14. I was literally saying it over and over, and I had 2 employees standing there, and then I stopped, and I was like, that's not even a real thing. I'm totally making it up, and they're standing there. Okay, yeah, okay. I'm like, I just disregard everything I just said. It's like my brain and my mouth are not connecting. But anyways, they believed me.
That's awesome. So looking at, I kind of glanced at your website and the holsters because I still have yet to find a good holster for the guns we carry. And I saw that I think there's like 2 different types of belt hooks or something that you have on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually offer, I think currently we have 4 different belt attachments. We have the very first clip that ever came out was called the quick clip or foam clip. You've probably seen them. They're plastic, centered on the frame of the gun. I'm ready to discontinue that because this monoblock has been released and it just blows it out of the park. The monoblock you've probably seen, it's a metal clip, sits in the same position, but it has 2 legs that move independently of each other and keeps constant contact on the holster. So depending on the shape of the gun and how your holster has been formed, there's a chance that your clip, after it goes over the belt, may lose a little bit of contact with the holster. And there have been people that when you go to draw, it'll pull it right off your belt. Well, monoblock is made by Discrete Carry Concepts, and they have just put so much thought and just really made some incredible products. And the monoblock, we're so thrilled to be carrying it and offering it now in our holsters. That's one of my favorites. That could be worn with or without a belt. And then you've probably seen a lot about the Ulti clip. And that is real. I mean, it's not necessarily a female holster because we sell mostly to men still, but the Ulti clip was the first clip designed to be worn without a belt. And it's just really kind of changed the concealed carry world. Of course, people still mostly wear belts. You can weave a belt over the clip, but it's like it's kind of like a suspenders clasp, but a lot more aggressive. And it really changed it for females. There's a lot of women that wear, any type of clothing, but we don't have tactical belt loops built into all of our pants. And we, dress clothes, we can wear it in leggings. I just always follow that up with pants don't have to be sturdy enough to support a loaded gun and a holster. And that's the part people miss. They put them in drawstring sweatpants or whatever. You still got to be smart about it, but it's a game changer for sure.
Well, that's awesome because my wife hates to wear belts. So anything on the market now that we've looked at, she can't use because she doesn't have a belt to even wear. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we have 2. Our Ulti clip comes on what we call our Intrepid holster. It's our Intrepid inside the waistband. And I mean, it's our number 1 selling holster because of the way it functions and all the features to it. We have a lot of names to our holsters, and people can get on the site and get confused. We have the best customer service. I know everybody says it. We have the best customer service. There is not a stupid question. I felt like I always asked stupid questions to other people when I was trying to buy guns or buy holsters. There's no stupid question with us. You can ask the same thing. You can ask, I have people that will say, you made me a holster, but you made it backwards. And I said, I don't think that that's true. No, I have it. I said, have you put your gun into your holster? And these are men. So it's not like, not everybody wants to pretend like they know everything about guns and holsters. It's okay if you don't. We just usually say, send us a picture of your gun. They'll say, I have a 9mm. Okay. Okay, good. That's a good start. Let's go a little bit deeper. So anyways, I'm just saying all that to say, you get on our site and you're like, what holster was she talking about? Or which one? Email us, call us. Everything is answered immediately. And our heart is to just help people, is to get people from where I was 9 years ago to, to loving it. So
that's awesome. And yeah, so do you sell in stores or are you strictly online only right now?
No, we actually were in, I think 9 or 10 different gun stores right now. I said to my employees this little challenge that I kind of think we're going to put some fire behind, but I said, we need to be in a store in every state in the country. And that just kind of needs to be the next chart on our wall. I said, let's figure out a way to make this happen. So I said that early July, and I kind of put some pressure behind it. So we challenge accepted now, but we're, I got to figure out how to make that happen. But yeah, that's the goal. I mean, 99% of our sales are still online, but we have excellent packaging, and gun store orders, regardless of how big or small, process the same amount of time as our regular orders, and our turnaround time is 3 business days or less, always, no matter what, on everything. So
Awesome.
Everything's made to order, so you get to go on our site, pick any color, right or left hand, any belt attachment, throw in all the accessories you want, and we get the order and make it and ship it within 3 days.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's
yeah.
fast.
Yeah, I was going to ask, I'm like, do you just keep a bunch on hand and send them out, or do you make them to order? So that's awesome.
No. Yeah, we have our hot sellers, and those are, we always have been made, and that is the still the M&P Shield, Glock 19, number one. I mean, Glock 19, everything.
Right.
The Glock 43 and the SIG 365, and we always have them made with our multi-clip in black carbon fiber. We sell 50 or 60 of those always. So that's a constantly made. It's the only holsters that sit in our shop pre-made. Everything else is made to order.
Awesome. And do you have ones? I know some people like to appendix carry. Are you able to use those to appendix carry, or?
We do. Our Delta holster is designed for appendix carry because it comes with a wing.
Okay.
Some people call it the claw. It's been called the claw, or the wing. It sits off to the side, right on the side of the trigger guard, and it's designed to put pressure against the inside of your belt line. So it's a little wing, puts pressure on the inside, and the belt weaves over it, and the pressure of the belt sitting against the wing actually takes the grip of your gun and forces it into your abdomen.
Okay.
So where it would normally stick out, I'm doing a bad job of giving a hand demo, but where the gun, the grip would normally stick kind of out of your shirt a little bit against your stomach, it actually puts pressure and shifts that the grip of the gun, angles it towards your stomach, and allows the t-shirt to drape a little bit better. It's ideal for concealment, but it works best in the appendix position.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah. And look at me. I used to think everything was a Glock. Now I can tell you.
Well, that's all you hear about is a Glock.
I know.
There's so many different options out there, and my go-to concealed carry right now is between a Glock 43 or Glock 26. But I've done a couple of YouTube videos recently on the Hellcat Pro. I'm really thinking about switching to that because that's just an awesome gun.
Yeah, speaking on that, we just launched the Hellcat Pro to our website today.
Awesome.
So every SHOT Show, if you guys are familiar with SHOT Show, it's this industry massive show every January. I used to love it. Now as a holster maker, you kind of dread it because you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to be released that we don't have a holster for? So a couple big ones this year, the Hellcat Pro was one of them. And you want to be able to offer it as soon as something hits the market.
Right.
Because of the way we do our molds, we 3D scan in the actual gun, and then we create a CAD file out of the 3D scan. We meaning our engineer, because I'm not smart enough to do any of this. He creates what looks like was going to be our mold and all of our trim paths for our CNC machine. And then that goes onto our machine shop that we use locally, because everything that we mold on is made out of aluminum. And then we wait, because the machine shop is so busy that we could be 9 or 10 weeks behind. And so then it's this impatient wait. When is it going to be ready? Well, first we got to test the market and see, okay, so Springfield launched a new gun, but are people going to want it? There's the Hellcat. Why would you get the Hellcat Pro? It's just slightly different in size. Slightly different enough that it doesn't fit our standard Hellcat holster. So anyways, we test the market. Once we get enough requests for something, then we go buy the gun and push hard. So this Hellcat Pro has been a long-awaited, that and the Taurus G3. Those two launched today. And I feel like I just gave like halfway to Christmas to people because they're just so happy. It makes me so happy that we finally pulled it off. So, anyways, you get the gun, I got a holster for you.
Sweet, that's awesome. Yeah, my wife will like that because I'm a Glock guy, but I also really like Springfields. That was the first gun I shot when I started. Love Springfields, and that's the only gun she will shoot. She will not shoot a Glock. She doesn't like SIGs or anything like that. Strictly Springfield. So I got her. I have the Hellcat for the business, and I had her hold it and everything, and she loved it. So I think we may keep that one for ourselves.
What do you guys find is like the top selling gun right now? Or it probably always goes in waves, but what's a big one for you right now?
The Taurus G3C has been really popular. I've been selling a lot of those. Right now, with everything going on, everybody's kind of leaning more towards ARs and strip lowers. Yeah. But honestly, like anytime I get a Glock 19, generally it sells pretty quick. Glocks are just sellers. And then I've had a couple regular Hellcat Pros. But yeah, just people are starting to get more into wanting smaller guns. And so the 43X has been pretty popular. Glock 19, still a lot of people like that.
I mean, you sold one to me not too long ago.
Yeah, for me, it's too big to conceal carry, but a lot of people, it doesn't bother them. So that's probably the biggest gun model that I've sold is Glock 19.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think historically, globally, that is the gun.
Yeah.
We help a lot of holster makers start their companies too because of our other business that we run. And they say, what should I start with? You have to have the Glock 19. And then we'll talk after that. I can give you like the top 5, but there's a local gun store here in Williamsburg, and the gentleman, he's just this older gentleman, he will not carry anything Glock. And I'm like, you really don't actually want to, like, you're not doing this for business then, are you? You're just doing this to chat with people because, I don't know, they have always, dominated in the sales and the market. So
yep, they have. But there's so many different things out there. I try and like carry other things just so people can hold it and feel it at like gun shows. And I'm like, okay, there's more out there than just Glocks that are probably even better. I know with Glock you get the Glock name and everything, but so I'm gonna have Hunter. So we always talk about the trifecta. I'm gonna have Hunter ask you about that real quick.
So I had a shotgun that my grandpa gave me. It was a 12 gauge single shot lever action break apart shotgun. And I had that forever, but never really shot it. Never was into guns. He just had given it to me when I was younger. And then when I moved in next door to Keith, he's got his FFL and he's selling guns. And so start talking to him and he's like, well, what do you want? Something for home defense. I don't necessarily want to carry it. So I got a Glock 17 off of him. And then shortly after I bought a Mossberg 500, and now he's really pressuring me into getting an AR, what he calls the trifecta. You have to have a good pistol, a good shotgun, and a good rifle. And so he keeps, putting a lot of pressure on me to get an AR right now. And I was gonna do it, but then we found out my wife was pregnant. So I was like, I can't be spending that kind of money on guns right now. We have a baby to worry about. But ultimately, do you have the trifecta? And if so, what's your shotgun that you have, and what's your rifle that you have to complete it?
So I don't have a shotgun, and it's the one piece that I'm missing. But I do have a Remington 700 bolt action gun, which is my favorite gun that I own. I had no idea, just like I didn't know I'd enjoy shooting a handgun. And I mean, it's not practical to take anywhere, but laying behind this thing and racking the bolt, I have walked it out to 1,000 yards and back again on steel, which is also so satisfying. I have there's like this piece of me that thinks I probably would make a great sniper. Probably not. I mean, I don't want to lay in wet grass and I don't want to get eaten by bugs. So if the conditions are good, I love it. So that is my like favorite gun. We just had, there's a guy local that is making, I don't know what he calls it. So I'm gonna butcher it, but it has a folding brace and it fits in my NASA backpack. So that's like the last thing that I bought that is awesome, and it shoots 9mm. But I'm butchering the rest of it because I don't know enough about this gun. He made he made all the parts that he could make. So Joseph Joseph's like, I'm gonna get one. He's like, do you want one? Here's the bad thing about having two people that own the same businesses. We were like, tax write-off, and we need two of them. We need two of them. So
Yep.
Short barrel and longer barreled rifles, and my bolt action and our handguns. And I have never wanted to own a shotgun, but I kind of feel left out that I don't have one in my safe. So
Everybody's got to have a shotgun.
There
now
is
you're gonna make me spend money. Which is
there is something about the bolt action that just feels so. It's awesome.
Yeah, I made my own like bag, that full of beans that you stick under it, and I have an iPod. I made so many parts of this, and I am not good at like measuring wind or distance. I have really good helpers who cheat that for me, and it's that you can download. But that is the most satisfying thing to shoot.
So if you were to get a shotgun, then would you get a 20 gauge? Do you think, or what type of shot? Have you looked into it much, or what would you think you would get?
I'll tell you, the two people I would go to would be Jerry and Alina Midlick. And I would say whatever's good enough for them to shoot is what I'd buy. So
Well, yeah.
I think they might make their own shotguns, or I know she competed with it. So I've chatted with her quite a bit. And so that would be who I would ask. I'd say, hey, I need a shotgun. What do you think I should get? And then I would just buy whatever she said. Because I feel like I was asking like the best resource for myself. That girl is amazing, and her dad is, like the king of everything.
Oh yeah, he's
so
like
that's
fastest shooter.
I don't know enough to tell you the answer, but I know where to find the answer.
He'd probably be like, I have a series with Mossberg. So I think it's the 930 is his version with the Mossberg. So he'd probably tell you that.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll if it came recommended from them, and then it would give me the idea. I could probably shoot like them if I have the gun that they own. That crazy, but I know I couldn't. But
so have you actually gotten to see him shoot in person?
No, I've never gotten to see him. I have been multiple places where he was, especially at SHOT Show. We've attended SHOT Show for several years, but I've never seen either one of them actually shoot in person. So.
Gotcha.
On my list.
Yeah, for sure. When you go to SHOT Show, do you set up a booth there, or you just go in and checking out and see what's new and what you guys are going to have to get in inventory?
They have a portion of SHOT Show called the Suppliers Showcase, and it is on the 5th level, and it's small, and it is for people that have parts and pieces. So we actually go under our holster holder name, and we have a table where people can come, and if they're looking for any parts and pieces that go into holster making, gun making, things like that. So it's a little bit different than the actual SHOT Show itself. It only lasts for 2 days, but we always have a presence there so other holster makers can find us. But when we go, I let everybody that I'm connected with and everybody on my social media know we will be there as Eclipse, and it's incredible to get to meet people in person. After that 2 days is over, it's 3 full days of SHOT Show and the networking that goes on. And typically we'll have appointments scheduled every 2 hours for the days. We leave absolutely exhausted, but it's some of the best connections in network. It's so profitable and so worth going that every year we're like, man, do we want to go? Because it's so exhausting.
Right.
And I come home sick from SHOT Show every year, even before the craziness that happened 2 years ago. I'm like, I just thought that's where everybody goes and gets sick. Everybody in the world comes and touches the same, like you're all touching the same guns.
Yeah, breathing the same air. There's so many people in there.
Yeah. So
We
I don't see us ever having a booth. I don't think that we are. We've never felt like it was important for Eclipse to have a booth. We're not, or I shouldn't say we're not that big, but really, in the grand scheme of things, we're not that big. And we get so much out of not having a booth because we have the ability to walk around. We've talked to a lot of people that have booths there, and you are a slave to it from like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You're not allowed to leave. You're not allowed to close it down early. They have a lot of rules about how the presence and what you have to maintain there. And I just don't know that we'd get as much out of it if we were stuck at the same place.
So that would restrict a lot of your networking if you were stuck to the booth. Yeah. One of the questions that I wanted to ask you was, how did you fall in the name Eclipse? Like what brought you to that name?
Well, everything about me since I was like a little girl is a complete love of space and NASA. And I always wanted to be the first woman on the moon. There still hasn't been a woman there, so NASA, Elon, I'm here for you.
You're wearing your
I'm
NASA
so
shirt
ready.
right now.
What's that?
I said, and you're wearing your NASA shirt right now.
Oh gosh, that's like my uniform. I'm covered with NASA tattoos. I mean, so as a little girl and growing up, that was it's a love that has never changed in me. My kids are named after astronauts. Like, I'm straight nerd when it comes to space. So as we were realizing I was going to turn this company into a business, or this little hobby, I should say. And I told my husband, I was like, I have a name, but of course it has to be a space name. It has to be space related. Everything that I do and everything about me, there's a path to space. And so we talked around names for, days. And I think he was in the shower. I was brushing my teeth. And he's like, what about Eclipse? We're like tossing out moon, going through all the planets. And Eclipse, we both were like, ooh, I like that. And it stuck. And I'll tell you, when you name a business, I've said this to people now, like, you have to think, are you going to get sick of saying it? Because you're going to say it a zillion times. Are you going to get sick of looking at it and writing it and signing it and, all those things? I can tell you we nailed it because I still love this name and I love our logo. And I feel like it kind of carved out this little niche area for me too. Because if you follow me, well, I get new followers all the time, and they're like, "What is with space stuff?" We send out space stickers. I, have astronauts all over our shop. We took photos with all of it. One of our space stickers that we send out is the first footprint on the moon, and I'll have people like, "This is rad, but why? Why are you doing it?" So. Anyways, anybody that's been following us long enough knows that they're going to get some nerd, and I have made people fall in love with it just because of my passion for it, because I just constantly share about it. So, that's why Eclipse, our first website, we just changed platforms, but our first website, the whole background was the surface of the moon.
That's
all
awesome.
All of our holster names are all space related. They're all named after something that has to do with space. So people don't really know what they're getting, but I still know it.
Well, and I completely get that. You have to fall in love with the name because, we've settled on our name for our kid right now, but that was quite the process to decide what we were going to name it's a boy. My wife swore me to secrecy. I can't actually say the name. But,
oh, darn, I want to know.
But that's something that you got to spend a lot of time,
you do
thinking about. And so I'm sure, the business is your baby, just like a baby is your baby. You got to. So that's cool that you found one that you love and you're able to incorporate into the business and kind of thrive off that.
Yeah, it's neat.
Was growing up in Alaska, because I've been there once before for a wedding, and I just remember at night, I mean, you could see compared to like where we're at in Kansas City even, you can see every star in the sky. I mean, it's so much clearer up there than it is down here. Did that have any influence on you you know, with your love of space and everything like that?
It definitely fueled it. But I started loving space before I even understood what was around me in the sky. I was just born that way. Um, as I got older, we would drive. Where were you at for the wedding?
We were in Anchorage, but the wedding wasn't
Okay.
actually in Anchorage. It was I can't actually, I don't know actually where it was at. It's
That's
about an hour away. We were kind of like at the foothills of some mountains.
Yeah, maybe near Girdwood, like by Alyeska or something. I mean,
Yeah,
or Palmer. There's so was it Alyeska?
Eliesker? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Because
Yeah.
we went and drove through that long tunnel, that one-way tunnel to
Oh yeah,
go
Whittier. Yeah.
to
Mhm.
go do the iceberg tour.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, so there are it's I mean even in Williamsburg you can't escape the light of the city. And Alaska is just untouched. There's no place that I've ever been that's as spectacular.
Mhm.
The Northern Lights, you know, all of those things. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with watching the stars and seeing the sky, the darkness and the beauty that you get when you're in an area where there's no lights. I miss that
Mhm.
kind of stuff because it's hard to have that anywhere here.
No light
But
pollution.
yeah, just beauty. I always
Mhm.
tell people because people are curious about Alaska, and I say, you know, it's everything that people say it is. It's like um, it's majestic. It's untouched land. There's less than 1 million people, and you can stick like 40 states. No, not 40, but you could stick a good portion of the country in the
Yeah.
state of Alaska.
Yeah.
And there's less than 1 million people, and it's absolutely breathtaking, but it's also terrifying in that sense because you're pretty alone.
Yep.
And it's ruthless and it's dark and cold and
And that would have been hard for you having to ship to the lower 48 all your holsters. I'm sure that would have gotten expensive or major
yes.
headache.
And let me tell you, as a holster maker in Alaska, it's kind of like living in Hawaii. So people that have never been to Alaska, lived in Alaska or Hawaii, probably don't ever read the little fine print at the bottom that says ships anywhere in, the U.S. except for Alaska and Hawaii. So
I've seen
like living in a third world country almost. Buying supplies for making holsters. I was buying from this big supply company, and they would not ship it in flat rate box. I was paying $70 for shipping. My
Oh, wow.
insane for just light pieces of Kydex. So here's why we have our other company that is now the third largest distribution company in the nation. This is why. Because they said no. And they said, no, we won't do it for you. No, we won't do it for you. No, we won't do it for you. And I paid so much in shipping that when I left Alaska and moved to Virginia, there were other holster makers in Alaska. And I said to them, I'll help you. Just tell me what you need. I'll buy it. I'll put it in a flat rate box and I'll send it to you. And we helped over and over and over. And then I was like, hey, I'm about to buy belt loops. I'll buy 1,000. Let's split it. I'll put them in a flat rate box and I'll send them to you. We said yes, where 2 other companies continually said no to me as a holster maker. And so I said, okay, well, I guess we'll just make our own company. We did. We built a company for flat rate shipping. We said, what do holster makers use? What's the most common size? How can we make this better? How can we help people out? And we built a company on it. And that has now grown us to be a pretty significant member of this community that just continually said no. So where
And
you said no,
and you said third largest in the nation. Is that third largest like within the gun industry, or is that third largest?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I would say within what our market is, meaning
okay.
All 3 companies are targeting to holster makers and knife makers. People that make knife sheaths tend to use a lot of the same products that we do for holsters. A lot of knife sheaths are made out of Kydex. Kydex is just a cool material because it completely becomes moldable with heat. And so we're all using t-shirt presses, pop it into, this contained heat for 90 seconds, and it comes out like a floppy piece of cheese. And you just lay it over whatever it is that you want to shape it around, and it cools and it takes that shape. So it's
Okay.
it's pretty cool to do it.
And that actually leads me into my next segue that I was thinking about this. Can you explain to us? So you said that, yeah, it wasn't the best looking, but it was really cool, that first holster that you made.
Mhm.
Can you kind of walk us through the process of when you were building that first holster, what that
Sure.
what that entailed?
Yes. So it took me probably 2.5 hours. I made a book press, which is just a piece of wood, 2 pieces of wood. I put foam in between it, and then I used clamps from Lowe's and clamped my real gun in between 2 pieces of Kydex that when the temperature was like 307 degrees. Here's the rule about doing that with a real gun. Many holster makers learned if you didn't have a mag in the inserted into your gun, people crushed the mag well of their guns. All these polymer frames, you're sticking it in between a book press and smashing it down. It had to stay in the press for 12 minutes. So there was the failures at the beginning of holster making were very painful and expensive. I read a lot and learned not to do that. But my first process of making a holster, this was after watching videos and trying to understand just how material would function. I heated it in the oven, toaster oven. It took about 20 minutes to get the temperature. And then I put it in the press, lay my gun in it, and then press the press down and wait 12 minutes. And then I did the other side. I made an outside the waistband first. And so then I had 2 pieces compressed around my gun, and I had to pry them apart, and then I made up my own way of trimming it where I thought it should trim. I actually looked at pictures online and just sort of free-handed, like, okay, I think it looks like this. Not understanding. I knew the trigger needed to be covered, but I didn't understand why the shape of anything else was important. I knew I needed belt loops on it, but I think my first holster, my belt loops were like that far on either side of the gun. I mean, this thing was gigantic. I had somebody comment to me and say, "Wow, that looks good. That's a lot of Kydex that you used." And I was like, didn't realize that their comment was like, "Holy crap, why did you use the entire sheet of Kydex for your guys?" And just people, it was hard because I had to go through such a long process of critiquing, and how I was able to get through all that, I really look back, like, I don't know. There's so many times where it'd be so crushing. You see why people would quit. But anyways, drawing out the lines on my holster, I needed to have the belt loops. I didn't know where I should put the belt loops or at what height. So everything about it was just sort of like random and not thought out the way we now thought things out, of height of belt loops and where do you need the Kydex to end so that you get the proper grip on your gun, but it's not too shallow that the whole gun falls forward because of the weight. It was all the stuff that you think about that. I still have my first holster.
Well, yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I have a lot of my first holsters. I have my hundreds chart.
Is it like in a shadow box in the office?
Yeah, it is.
Hung up.
Yeah, now that we have our new shop, I actually get to display things all over the place. So
that's awesome.
A lot of it means there's a lot of sentimental things that I've been able to hold on to that, my husband and I will stand there, and it's really hard. I didn't know it's even hard for our employees to fully understand. When we broke the doors open of this 10,000 square foot shop this April, the tears were flowing for both of us. And it's like, you can't even put into words 9 years of failing yourself to where you're standing in a shop that's 10,000 square feet, surrounded by your employees, and having customers who believe so much in you that they have shopped with you for their 5th, 6th holster. I mean, it's such an overwhelming and humbling feeling. And it's never lost on us. Something I did when I sold my first holster on eBay, I could not believe somebody would buy a holster. I was so surprised. And I was like, oh my gosh, somebody bought one. And so I wrote a thank you note and I said, thank you so much for buying this holster. And, I don't know all I said. Well, then like a couple days later, I sold another one and I sat down and had the same feeling of thank you so much that you bought this holster. And then the third one, the fourth one, and 9 years later, we've changed a lot about our process. The one thing I am unchanging, unwilling to negotiate with because now I have so many employees do all this stuff. A handwritten thank you note goes in every single order. Every moment, I still think they could shop anywhere. Why they came to us, and we're so grateful. And we're so blessed, and we thank every single one of our customers. And it's just, it's still there, that feeling and realization, especially now, social media. Shoot, all you have to do
Right.
is type a holster, and you're gonna find 90. Why even choose one company over the other? Most people can't even visually see the difference in a holster. Us holster makers can spot all kinds of things. Not that one's any better than the other, but you see all these different changes. So for people to land on Eclipse Holsters page and then to spend their money to buy our holsters, which are not holsters and gun stuff is not cheap. And we're so thankful.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like that handwritten note is such a personal thing that
Yeah, that's a nice little touch.
it's a nice touch. And, I feel like most business, even still today, is word of mouth. And so, you buy this holster, you get a handwritten note, you love the holster. Next time you talk to your buddy, you're going to be like, I cannot believe how awesome this holster is. You got to check out Eclipse. I think just that little touch really adds on to it. So I'm just curious. So I didn't actually ask Keith how you guys got into communication or how you guys found each other, but for the last 6 weeks, he's just been like, dude, you got to get ready. We're having Jessica on the podcast. He's like, you got to bring it. But so how did you find us or vice versa? How did this whole thing link up?
Well, I had one of my employees say, we moved, like I've been telling you guys, we've moved a big ass safe twice. So somebody in our shop listened to the podcast that you guys shared where something happened with your safe. Your strap broke.
Yeah.
Well, we had just had an incident in our shop where we were moving a 1,000-pound safe from our house into our new shop. My husband said, we got this. We didn't even have a dolly. We tilted the safe back and put pieces of Kydex underneath it and had employees push it to the edge of the door. So the whole time I'm saying, this is not a good idea. These are our employees. And if something happens, it was the worst idea that probably ever. Anyway, somehow somebody, I think it was a YouTube video actually that they saw. It wasn't an audio podcast. It was like a scroll. Everybody in our shop. There's a lot of just hours where you're just randomly listening to anything that pops up on YouTube. I have one guy that just watches YouTube all day as he's in the cutting room. So, anyways, it gave us a chuckle. Somebody that's the head of our ambassador program is always like, you got to get on podcasts. Well, then we find out there's a podcast with you guys. I think that's how the first connection came. And then it was just from there, reaching out and saying, hey, you do random people on your show. And since then, I've listened to several more. We just got our FFL. So I was actually really interested in the FFL segment because I'm a little bit like, we're not open to the public, but we do have people stop by often. But people are coming into your space with guns on. And obviously we're all gun people, right? But like it feels a little bit different when you are opening it and you're not exactly sure who's going to be walking through that door. It's like all of a sudden my hackles are up a little bit more of like, this could get kind of funky. And we have all of our employees there. So anyways, I was just kind of curious to hear that because it's in your personal house, right?
Right. It is. My wife doesn't let me do it inside the house. So it's all in the garage that I have set up as a shop. And most people are repeat customers, which is awesome. So I really don't have any issues with some anybody that I wouldn't want to do business. Because
Yeah.
most of those people, when they see an ad online or anything, I state you have to have a background check and do the paperwork, and that kind of weeds out a lot of people. So,
Right.
fingers crossed, I haven't had any issues being at home based or at gun shows. But there's nothing better than just being able to order a gun and have it shipped directly to your house. Like, that is awesome.
I finally told Justin, like, it's been so long. Everywhere we've lived, we couldn't do it because we were in some sort of homeowners association or on the wrong side of town where they have all these weird rules. But we finally just received ours. We're excited to see where that can take our business, even to a new place. So.
Are you guys thinking about selling guns eventually, or is that something that you're just going to buy them to try out, or?
No, I mean, well, we buy guns constantly just to use for our new molds and things, but we do have a desire to kind of do what we've done in the market space already when it comes to holsters and our supply company, and take a gun store and really just make it like freaking awesome.
That's
it's
awesome.
Not done well here at all, and I'm actually a little bit embarrassed every time I walk into our local gun store. Every time I go in to pick something up, standing there waiting, they do the background check. And we pick up a gun at least once a month, and I usually have to leave and stand in the parking lot because I have a really hard time listening to the way that they talk to customers and just like,
oh yeah,
I just have to leave. And we've always have said to each other, we could do this so much better. And so we'll see. I mean, our employees and our kids, everyone's like, you're going to start another business? But we're kind of like, I think we can start another business. So,
yeah, maybe you should.
That would be awesome. Because, we live so close to the state line between Kansas and Missouri that I get a lot of people wanting to buy pistols, but I can't sell them unless we go to a Missouri gun shop for them to do the transfer. And I've met a couple people where, they bought it from me. And so I just meet them there and give the gun shop my FFL so they can do that transfer. And every time we go in there, they're like rude. Like it's inconvenient for them that we're there to do the transfer. It's like, you guys are making whatever off of this, and like act like you have some bit of customer service. Like and I can see that, like, as somebody that doesn't know anything about guns and they go into a gun shop like that, hell yeah, that's gonna be super intimidating and it's gonna scare you off.
That, let alone not come back.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm so surprised at how busy this place is every time we go in. And I also am sort of reminded, I joke with our employees, we do a monthly meeting and we will always share our best reviews, we'll share feedback, and then I remind people that you can completely suck at your job and still be very successful.
Apparently,
Not that, like, because I feel like it's so important to us that we treat our customers the way we would want to be treated. Like, it's to answer a phone and to answer an email, the amount of people that write back and say, I'm totally surprised that you answered. Like, what other companies out there doing that this type of behavior is surprising to you? But I mean, the standards have changed, definitely. And so,
oh yeah, big corporations, they're not answering anybody's questions.
No, there's no, you can,
we will forward you to the next person, that'll forward you to the next person, that'll forward you to the next person, but there's no, that personal touch that it seems like your company's offering.
Yeah, my, the head of our customer service today, she's like, I feel like our customers are just on another level this week. And we go through phases where people are it just gets a little bit exhausting. She's so good at customer service. And I just love, we have all the right employees in the right positions, man. They carry our heart and just continually breathe it out into our customers. But she was saying today, she's like, I think we should have two options. One is you just want an automated response. Two is you actually want human content, and we're going to charge you 50 cents a minute. She said, maybe they'll be faster on the phone, and maybe they'll actually appreciate how much we do for them. So I said, that's not a bad idea.
That's awesome.
I think I'm going to talk to somebody in this country when I'm calling asking for help. So elevate it to, you want a human that will actually give you amazing service. It's going to cost you 50 cents a minute.
I will say, though, it was really cool that you and Keith were able to link up through this, and we get experience Eclipse, and you get a little bit of Boomstick Tactical. But
and this was our first virtual. I know they've each come on virtual on the podcast, so this was our first full podcast with a guest virtual. So it seems to be going well. I haven't had any issues with on my end anyway. So we'll see. But yeah, that worked well.
I'm so thankful you guys have me. I feel like I've moved my computer around about 50 times, but I
don't know. That's all right.
If you see me, I've been trying as hard as I can to sit still this whole podcast. But if you watch any of the other ones, I am constantly just going crazy the whole time. So
and it looks like one last thing. It looks like so on your website, obviously you have holsters, but you have other things. You got wallets. It looks like you got mag pouches and everything.
We do. We have a couple things that we just make out of Kydex. We make dump trays. We make wallets.
I don't know what he's doing over there.
Got it.
M4 pouches. We make mag pouches for just about every holster or every gun model that we offer. There's a few. The Shield EZs have like an easy lever. They don't fit in any of our mag pouches. There's a couple that are funky, but and then we offer just accessory tools. We just got some tasers and some flashlights, and we're trying to expand and bring in people that aren't necessarily wanting to have a gun, but still want to have some type of safety. And then we have novelty things, but yeah, we definitely cover the guns and magazines and double and single mag pouches inside and outside the waistband, and we have. I think we're up over like 130 of our models are in left-handed. Anytime we bring a new model on, we do full suite, including left hand, and that is pretty rare. So I always try to remind myself to tell people that because it's got to show love for the lefties.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it's cool. And so for those that are listening, what is your website and what other social media can people find you guys on?
Our website is eclipseholsters.com, and we are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. Instagram is probably the biggest platform that we share on continually. They're the one that has threatened me to be banned the least. TikTok, I have one more warning. But people, like I was saying before, we share all the behind the scenes. So, it looks like it's kind of getting fuzzy. You can go onto my Instagram at any time and watch me make a holster from start to finish. You can see all the parts of our process. People love it. It's kind of a rare glimpse. We have people write in and say, here's my order number. Can you please make a video of you making my holster? And we try to do that as often as we can and just make it real personal. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I'm surprised with you being only in holsters that you're getting so much slack from those companies like social media. Obviously us, because most of our stuff is gun related. I'm getting banned from. I've just got recently taken down a bunch of videos on TikTok, which I don't post any videos on there anyway. But the ones I did got taken down. I get blocked from Facebook all the time, and they're like, "Don't post links to anything." And I'm like, "I don't." I'm like, "I have this in stock. I'm not posting anything else. Like, I don't post a link or anything, and I still get banned." It's like, what in the world? Like,
I think people reported me. You know, I didn't know to not show a gun. So any video I would do on Instagram, I would just put it on TikTok as well. You could not, or I could not show guns. There are people on there shooting guns. It's just crazy. I think I just must have been reported by somebody in order to have it be flagged as much as I am. So yeah, I'll use it. It's free. I'll use it until I can't, and I'll change. I don't know. I'll put it under a different name and keep going. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and yeah, it looks like a lot of the videos that you guys have on the website are on YouTube. So do you guys have a YouTube channel, or you just have those specifically for the website?
We do. I mean, I have a YouTube channel under Eclipse, but to be honest, I haven't put enough. That would be a place where if I could put energy into building up one of my platforms, that would be one. We have linked a ton of videos through YouTube onto our website of how the holster functions, which holster might be best for you to choose, all the different features of each of our belt attachments, trying to really help educate our customer as they're on the website to make it be as less intimidating as possible. So a lot of our YouTube links are through there.
Cool.
YouTube is powerful. That's definitely a huge marketing tool right there.
Yeah, that's what I definitely need to get on that more. I really do.
Yeah, because anybody, if they have a question, they immediately go to either Google or
True.
YouTube to figure it out.
I
Like,
built a whole company off of it. Our
Yeah.
sons, it's funny. Our sons they're 22, and you know they'll say things like, I don't want to put air in my tire." Not that they haven't already been taught 3 times, but I will literally joke with them. I'm like, Google it. Like you
Yep.
can go. The internet is going to tell you everything that you need to know. You know what I do if I don't know the answer to your question? I'm going to Google it. I'm going to watch a YouTube video for 2.5 minutes, and I'm gonna dominate it. So
And then
The
I'm going
power
to tell
is in
you
your
with all
fingertips.
this authority.
like, be smart. Look at your mom. Look what I built. It's on YouTube.
Yep.
So,
that's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, we appreciate you being on, and for those listening, check out Eclipse Holsters, especially if you're having trouble finding one that fits your gun. Sounds like this would be the way to go. I definitely need to check one out because I'm cheap, but I have to go and like actually physically go to like Academy and feel it and see how it is, and I'm never satisfied with what I find up there. And I've
Well,
tried a
that's
couple.
kind of
like
intimidating and a challenge all at the same time. So I'm gonna get you a holster.
Cool. Yeah, I've tried some like alien gear and some other ones, and they still aren't what I'm looking for. So yeah, definitely check it out, and yeah, follow Eclipse Holsters on the social media, and yeah, do you guys have a Facebook? Can't remember.
Yeah, we
if
do.
you said that.
Eclipse
You do?
Holsters.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, we're on all
Yep.
the major platforms everything's under Eclipse Holsters.
And we
Awesome.
will be posting all that information down in the description below, probably on the screen as well. But
Yep.
Jessica, thank you so much for coming on and
thank you,
talking
guys.
to us. This was
It
awesome.
was fun.
This is really it's a good time.
Good. Thanks. I had a great time too. Really appreciate it.
Cool.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, that was fun.
Chris, let's hear it.
Well, first of all,
I'm about to piss my pants.
all right. I guess it has been going on for a little over an hour. Okay. So, yeah, check out Eclipse Holsters, and then also check out Boomstick Tactical for our stuff on all of the things, and Shotgun Studio. And then where Chris is working on our merch. That's going to be dropping here pretty soon, right,
Yep.
Chris?
Yep. Just gotta get your logo so I can start making stuff.
Hey, why didn't you include me in this? I want to help with the
will.
merch.
I will. So I just need to get Boomstick logos. So
Also, I was wrong about me being able to handle Chris in one-on-one basketball. But there is no doubt in my mind I am about to curb stomp him and his brother in some disc golf. So we'll see what happens.
Better back that word up, boy.
Ooh, I'm going to.
All
I'm
right.
going to.
Next week, you guys will know who won on that disc golf tournament thing. So cool. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that. Whoa,
Not
that was
bad.
really loud.
And be looking out for our merch, motherfuckers. Have a good one.